Hey, how would you like tickets to see Dierks Bentley? Ironically, he has a song called Drunk on a Plane. Has nothing to do with the Toronto accident, so don't at me. But he's going to be in town coming up on May 30th, and I got to give away some tickets today. So if you want to play Dead or Alive, go ahead and call in 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Today's edition of Dead or Alive is going to be the 80s TV edition. That's going to be people that you might recognize from TV shows that were super popular in the 80s, and I think one of them may be a 90s TV show, but it was the very beginning of the 90s. So go ahead and call in, 800-288-9227. If you want to see Dierks Bentley, May 30th on me, 800-288-9227. A couple of pieces of feedback I wanted to share with you because it covers so much of what we've been talking about already. Kind of a nice way to catch up the people who just joined us. Number one, we have super cold weather that's coming in starting tomorrow. It's going to get down. And tonight is going to be pretty cold, but tomorrow night, by the time you wake up on Wednesday, we're going to be down in the teens. And for a big chunk of the people listening right now, it's going to be a little bit colder than it was when it snowed-ish about a month ago. So Gary says, don't close schools. This is on Facebook, by the way. Don't close schools due to cold weather. Schools shouldn't be closed because of hot or cold weather. The problem may be ERCOT may want the schools to close due to the power grid. I have to go to work during this cold front. Yeah, and for those people who say we should be able to stay home when it snows, well, that's a luxury. A lot of people have jobs that don't allow you to do that. What do we just abandon all the people in the hospitals and nurses and doctors don't have to go to work until the snow clears up? No, there's a lot of people who have to go to work, period, point blank, end of story. Cops, firefighters, doctors, if you have a real job, plumbers, that's you. Oh, yeah, the other one, super cool. Some guy named Terry. Thank you, Terry. He sent me a YouTube video of someone doing a barrel roll in a 707. So it looks like a 737. I know somewhere between jack and squat about airlines and airplanes. But I was asking earlier because of the crash that happened in Toronto. That's the second biggest headline today besides the weather. This plane ended up upside down, and I'm only comfortable being this lighthearted about it because we have no deaths thus far. Kind of scared about that one. We found out the one person in critical condition is a baby, and then there's some other people who are in serious condition. But those descriptions have been kind of changing over the last 2 hours, and it's a fresh story. So please forgive me if not everything I've reported ends up being correct in the final report. But I was asking the question because another guy that was Testiculus who had said it looks like when it was coming in, the plane got wobbly and one of the wings caught the ground, and that's what ripped it off and caused it to flip over upside down. And that would explain how it ended up not breaking into 1,000 pieces. Because if it did do a barrel roll and was upside down before it hit the ground and, all the impact was taken on the top, I'm not sure if we would have had the same result. So that's a good catch there. But then Terry's showing me how even though Testicular's theory looks to be the most likely thus far, those planes are capable of doing a barrel roll. I'm just super glad they don't do it when I'm in there because I'll throw up. Robert's got some jokes about the plane crash. Robert, I appreciate the jokes. I'm just not going to repeat them on the air because it could be if it turns out someone dies from this, I'll be a bad guy for that one. But those are funny jokes. All right, let's do a little Dead or Alive. Y'all ready? Thank you, Mr. Jovi. Welcome to Dead or Alive. Today is the 1980s TV edition. And at stake today, 2 tickets to see Dierks Bentley, Dos Equis Pavilion, May 30th, with special guests Zach Top and the band Lola. Get tickets at livenation.com. I'm going to try and give some to, who's the longest one? Grady. Grady in Watauga. You ready to play a little Dead or Alive?
Yes, sir.
Can you turn the music down just a tad? All right. It's the 80s edition. Grady, first off, from 2 shows from the 80s, Taxi and Who's the Boss. Wasn't Taxi on the 80s? I know it started in the 70s. It was on the 80s, too. Tony Danza, dead or alive?
Alive.
Tony Danza? Yes, sir, he is alive. 73 years old. The dad from Growing Pains, Alan Thicke, dead or alive?
Dead.
He is dead. Dylan from 90210, his real name's Luke Perry. Is he dead or alive?
Dead.
He is dead. How do you know 90210, Grady?
I know his son as a wrestler.
Okay. Tiffany Amber Thiessen, she was on Saved by the Bell. Is she dead or alive?
Alive.
She is alive. She's only 51, looks great. Screech from Saved by the Bell. His real name is Dustin Diamond. Is he dead or alive?
Dead.
All right. Look at you go. Dude, you got the first 5 like nothing. Let's do Bob Euchre. A lot of people know him as a play-by-play guy. I know him as the dad from Mr. Belvedere. Is he dead or alive?
Just passed away. Dead.
Yeah, that's right. He did just pass away. Patrick Duffy from both Dallas and Step by Step. Is he dead or alive?
Dead.
Oh, you were doing so good. Thank you very much for playing, Grady.
Thank you.
All right. That is unfortunate. Next up, Muhammad in Richardson. You ready to play some Dead or Alive?
Ready.
All right. We are on from the TV show Dallas. Larry Hagman. He was J.R. Ewing on the show. Real name Larry Hagman. Is he dead or alive?
Dead.
He is dead. Joan Collins from Dynasty. Is she dead or alive?
Dead.
No, I mean, sorry. No, she's alive. Yeah, 91 years old. I would have guessed dead too, so do not feel bad, Muhammad.
All right.
All right, thanks for playing. All right. Well, we only have one left, so whoever's the longest, Danelle, is it Donald or Danelle? Donald in Plano? Danelle in Plano.
Yes.
You are in the lucky spot here. I love it when this happens for somebody. On Dead or Alive, all you got to do is get this last one right, and you're going to win the Dierks Bentley tickets.
Yes.
All right, ready?
Yes, I am.
Do you know who Richard Dean Anderson is?
Richard D. Anderson?
Richard Dean Anderson. I know him as MacGyver. The actor's name is Richard Dean Anderson. Is MacGyver dead or alive?
MacGyver is alive.
Oh, man, you had no idea. That was just a guess, but it worked out great for you. Danelle, you a Dierks Bentley fan? You going to go to Dos Equis Pavilion May 30th?
Yes, I am.
All right, that's what I wanted to hear. Well, I'm going to put you on hold then. You're our big winner. All right. Oh, a little enthusiasm. Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, Danelle, do not hang up. Garrett's going to get your information, and these days we just email you tickets. For the rest of us, we go to livenation.com, but Danelle and Plano, just 2 tickets to Dierks Bentley, Dos Equis Pavilion, May 30th with Zach Top and the band Lula. That concludes today's edition of Dead or Alive. See, the only thing better than that is when the person misses the last one, and so it just defaults to whoever's next up on the phone rotation, and they don't even have to answer one question. I think that's got to be the best. Those are the luckiest people in the game, Dead or Alive. And I know it seems like it's not fair. There's no justice there, but hey, rules are rules. We run a tight ship over here on the James Show. And when I say that, I mean we're going to play some very funny sound bites coming up in 4 minutes. That's next. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Did you catch the free speech debate that happened over the weekend? That's all right. I'll put it together for you. That's what I'm here for. I found it interesting that anybody in 2025 would be anti-free speech, but hey, here we are. It's the people calling you a fascist, by the way. And so on 60 Minutes, this came up. And 60 Minutes was almost like praising this German police squad that goes around and arrests people and confiscates their electronic devices for saying mean things on the internet. They weren't presenting this as like, oh my God, can you believe Germany's going fascist again? They were like, look at how great this program is.
It's 6:01 on a Tuesday morning, and we were with state police as they raided this apartment in northwest Germany.
Hier ist die Polizei, wir müssen bitte mal mit Ihnen reden.
Inside, 6 armed officers searched a suspect's home, then seized his laptop and cell phone. Prosecutors say those electronics may have been used to commit a crime. The crime, posting a racist cartoon online. At the exact same time across Germany,
So, wir haben einen Durchsuchungsbeschluss für diese Wohnung.
more than 50 similar raids played out. Part of what prosecutors say is a coordinated effort to curb online hate speech in Germany.
Now, for me and you, we think, oh my goodness, the Germans are cracking down on free speech again. Uh-oh, let's keep an eye on them. It doesn't work too well when the Germans get all strict and rigid on their societal rules, isn't it? So just to clear it up, here's another little chunk from the 60 Minutes, pretty much attack on free speech.
The criticism that, this feels like the surveillance that Germany conducted 80 years ago. How do you respond to that?
There is no surveillance.
Josephine Ballon is a CEO of Hate Aid, a Berlin-based human rights organization that supports victims of online violence. In the United States,
can we rewind that a second? Say that part again real slow. Victims of online violence. They just say that phrase like it's something you've known of your entire life. The sky is blue, the grass is green. Exactly how is it metaphysically possible for someone to be a victim of online violence?
Josephine Ballon is a CEO of Hate Aid, a Berlin-based human rights organization that supports victims of online violence. In the United States, a lot of people look at this and say this is restricting free speech. It's a threat to democracy.
Free speech needs boundaries. And
all right, stop. Well, then it's not. Then you don't believe in free speech. Just say you don't believe in free. Well, I guess they are kind of saying it. But here we are, hateaid.org. It's like Gatorade, but instead of electrolytes, they use hate.
In the case of Germany, these boundaries are part of our constitution. Without boundaries, a very small group of people can rely on endless freedom to say anything that they want, while everyone else is scared and intimidated.
Did she just use freedom as a bad word? They can just use endless freedom. Oh, my God. And another free speech attack over the weekend. What's her name? Margaret Brennan from CBS talking to J.D. Vance. Or not J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio insinuated that free speech caused the Holocaust. Listen for yourself.
Well, he was standing in a country where free speech was weaponized to conduct a genocide. And he met with the head of a political party that has far-right views and some historic ties to extreme groups. The context of that was changing the tone of it. And you know that the censorship was specifically about the right.
No, I have to disagree with you. Free speech was not used to conduct a genocide. The genocide was conducted by an authoritarian Nazi regime that happened.
Anyway, he goes on and explains like why she's obviously wrong. What a terrible thing to say. Yeah, but one thing about those Nazis, they were freedom-loving Nazis. They weren't strict about. They were all loosey-goosey about, hey, whatever you feel like, whatever feels good, do it. Yep, that's them old Nazis. And it's strange when it happens at 60 Minutes. And then in a different interview on a different network, and then and then when J.D. Vance was in Europe, they were griping about it there. And so you see CBS News, 60 Minutes, some live events. And then here from our own Congresswoman, Jasmine Crockett, she's up in D.C. saying the same thing. Free speech has limits.
And let me also tell you that a big difference between Democrats and Republicans is that we don't just say we believe in the Constitution, but we walk it like we talk it. What does that mean? That means that if we believe in the Constitution, we don't just pick out the Second Amendment and say that it is limitless, nor do we pick out the First Amendment and say that it is limitless. The thing about the Constitution is that it has always been a balancing test. There are limits to this. And right now, what we continue to hear from a certain side of the aisle is that there are no limits to this lawlessness. In fact, there are limits. And I can tell you that one of those limits typically is around hate crimes. You may or may not know that when it comes down to it, if somebody decides that they want to send something hateful in, say, the U.S. mail, they can actually go to prison for that, up to 5 years in prison. So, yes, there are always going to be limits.
Define hateful. You know that's not what the law says. But there's a weird concerted effort that we just saw over the weekend. It's going to continue until it gets batted down. There's a whole chunk of the country that's now openly anti-free speech, and they'll say it, and they'll act like it's the most normal thing in the world, and they'll attribute free speech to Nazis. Yeah, nothing's more fascist than free speech. All right, are you a big fan of the 80s? Rick Springfield's coming with John Waite, Wang Chung, and Paul Young. It's called the I Want My 80s Tour. You can get tickets and information at livenation.com, but it's one of the contests we have rolling right now on WBAP. Text the word Rick, like Rick Springfield. Text the word Rick to 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227 for your chance to win. Coming up next, Chief Meteorologist for WBAP, Brad Barton, on the cold weather hitting tomorrow. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Waiting for the stars to fall. When you think of the James Show, this is what you think of? This is what you want branded with the James Show? I'm not sure if that would be in my top 1,000 songs for a bumper music rotation, but I guess I don't get to choose such things, do I? Hey, I would like to give a shout out to a local restaurant called Eatsies. Are they a chain? Is there like thousands of these? And I'm just not totally aware of it because I'm from a small town and a lot of this stuff slips through the cracks. I do have a lot of pop culture blank spots. Like I didn't have cable growing up, so I didn't see any of those Nickelodeon shows. But Eatsies is something I feel like I've driven past 1,000 times. I've rarely eaten there, but it's a birthday for a guy on the ticket, Sean. Is it Mino's birthday? So there was a big cookie cake that was in the break room. Yeah, you're getting a cookie cake story. And I've never seen this before. It's a cookie cake that has double layers. And it seems like the layers that it's made out of, those 2 layers are twice as thick as a regular cookie cake like you would get in the mall from the cookie company. And so this cookie cake is like 3, it's about 3 inches tall. And there's a layer of just butter icing. It's chocolate in between the 2. And then it's decorated on top. Happy birthday, Sean. It has a big ticket logo on one side. It has a big Eatsies logo on the other side. I got to tell you, I cut myself out a pretty big piece. I got in a fight with it and I lost. I can't even eat this whole thing. This is so much food. This was a meal. I ate half of it. I can't believe how filling that thing is. And I had no idea how much food I was getting off. I cut off a square that was like 2 inches by 4 inches. Like when you're looking at it from the top, that's more than I can eat. And I'm a big, dumb animal. I'm like 6'3" and I'm 200 something pounds. And this thing just whipped me. I feel so shamed. My manhood has been challenged by the Eatsies double-decker cookie cake. Oh my God. If you like chocolate chip cookies, or if you know someone like chocolate chip cookies, get them this for their birthday. They'll love you this forever. And that would take me, dude, I have 6 kids. If I took that to my house, it would take us a week to eat that whole thing. And I live with it. If you have 6 kids, 4 kids, there's 6 of us in the house. It's an absolute vulture fest every time you drop off a cake. The whole thing's gone in a matter of seconds because everyone just, I've never had my butt kicked by a cookie cake like this before. That's how impressed I am. Over the weekend, we had more Democrats protesting here in Dallas and all over the place. And who was that put together a montage? Was that Dallas Express or Current Revolt or somebody put together a montage? And I pulled it off. And, I don't really feel a strong kinship with the Democrat or Republican Party. I feel like both of those are goofy. And I really don't understand people that feel so strongly about it that they got to go block a street. I've never wanted to block a street over anything political before. And I have strong political opinions. You hear me on this show. So I will admit, I don't understand the whole process of protesting, period. But do they think this wins people over? Do they think young men see this and they're like, oh, that's cool, I'm going to be part of that?
When our computer systems are under attack by pimply teenage boys, what do?
They want to take away our protections for their profit? We have a saying for that. Come and take it. Come and take it.
We are not leaving. We are not leaving. We are not leaving. We are not leaving.
I feel like going on. Sing with us. This little light of ours, we're gonna let it shine.
Oh, stop it.
And to the federal workers who have been let go or put on probation or on administrative leave, let's all say together, we love you. We love you. We love you.
You don't even know them. Some of them were ripping you off. They're not even doing their job, or they're giving tax advice to people in Liberia for $45 million. You just blanket love all of them. Anyone who got fired over the last couple of weeks from federal government, you just love all of them. You're not thinking. You're not critically thinking. And man, if you're trying to win people over, that makes me just want to push y'all further away. Especially all the chanting. I'm not part of any group that does the chanting. I can stomach like a USA chant or maybe singing a song, but just the chanting, si se puede or whatever. All right, that's going to do it for the James Show. Thank you very much for hanging out today. Got a great show coming up tomorrow, so you want to be a part of that. In the meantime, if you need more James Show action, I'm about to get out of here and go put up the podcast. You can find it where you're already listening to podcasts, or the WBAP app is what I prefer. Thank you very much. Mark Levin next. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Look, the first top story that affects you and affects you the most is going to be the weather here. We're going to dip down to what may be the coldest weather we experienced this winter. It is expected to be even a few degrees cooler than that cold spell we had in January, where it snowed for about half of the listening area of WBAP. You lucky people to the north and to the west of where I'm sitting right now. Y'all actually got to make snowballs and things. This is going to be a little bit different, a little bit colder, but we're not expecting the precipitation that comes with it. Now, it's going to be preceded by a short line of rain tomorrow afternoon. And then when that goes by, super duper cold air is coming right behind it. And there's going to be like a sustained period of super cold where it will get above freezing, but just briefly, and it'll stay in the 30s for a couple days. And then maybe by this weekend, it'll start to edge back to something more normal. But it's an issue that you might want to go ahead and be aware of because schools like to close. And if there's going to be precipitation with this super duper cold weather, then we can totally understand and expect some of these closings. But extracurriculars are already being changed. Now I'm seeing more reports of other school districts. I had mentioned Fort Worth at the beginning of the show, but I was just checking on that on the break. So that's what we have to expect from the weather. We'll be doing some extra weather hits over the next, for the rest of this show for sure, but until the cold weather goes away and we get somewhat back to normal. There's a lot of Doge updates too, but something that happened just right as the James Show started today at 2:16, we got a report that a Delta plane had crashed in Toronto. And oh no, how many dead? I don't know. I don't think any are dead. This is crazy though, because this one is upside down. There is a Delta plane that is upside down on an iced over runway. I can't even tell where the runway begins and ends because the whole thing has like a layer of snow on it. And these poor guys, I checked on my phone. It's 18 degrees right now in Toronto, and you got to go out there and flip over a Delta plane? Good Lord. Hey, it looks like a 737. Do they even have a machine by which to do that? They have some giant tow truck, or we got to go rig up some pulleys, or what do you want to do? Y'all want to just chop it up into pieces and take it out in chunks? But the surprising part is the fuselage, the main part, the little toothpaste tube part of the airplane, 100% intact. It doesn't even look like it took any damage on the fuselage. Is that the wheel sticking up? I saw the wheel sticking up in the front, but in the back, I don't think. I guess that would be on the wing, and the wing is ripped off. Yeah, I see that. Thank you, Garrett. So it really doesn't look that bad. It just looks weird. Like, am I watching a movie? Is this a Bruce Willis? Is this a Jason Statham movie set? And someone's just confused? Because I don't understand how this, just the physics, the mechanics. Like, you have to be going at least a certain speed. You're descending. How do you flip upside down and still land? And not on wheels. And the plane doesn't break apart, except for this, again, the wings ripped off and the tails ripped off. This is another miracle. This is not, I don't know. I can't make any conclusions until we know some more info on the number of people who are injured. Because if they're all dead in there, of course, this is a huge tragedy. But this could be another like miracle on the Hudson, like the Sully Sullenberger thing. Because I think there's a chance that all these people may be okay. Think about it. If you have your seatbelt on, you're just going to land like that and hang upside down, and maybe the mask pop down or maybe pop back up. So this is at Toronto's Pearson Airport. If you're familiar with Canada, I hope that clears it up for you. But we have live cameras that are on this. Fox News is all over it. That other camera is going to the flooding in Kentucky. But we're seeing crews rush to the scene. But another telling sign here is there is no ambulances. See, I know what to look for in these things. I have to do this. There are no ambulances in this. So I think that's a fantastic sign. I think we may get out of here with everyone being okay. I mean, look, do you see any blinky lights? There's no fire truck, so there's no fire and there's no risk of fire. I see some blinky lights on the far right of my screen here on this live shot from one lone cop car, and it's not like an ambulance or SWAT vehicle or anything. It just looks like a Crown Victoria, just like a regular old cop car. So they're not acting like this is a big, awful tragedy. This may be miraculous. It's just so weird. Like your brain doesn't believe what it's seeing. We've all seen too many special effects in movies and too much AI already floating through in your social media, and you've gotten tricked by it before. This looks like it could be like an AI. Hey AI, draw me an upside down Delta plane on a snow covered runway. That's what it looks like. This does not look real, and it's just so not believable in the face of all these other airplane accidents that we've had just in the last few weeks. Your thoughts, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Yeah, and if you got a text saying they're from the IRS because you are eligible for a rebate, specifically $1,400, Better Business Bureau warns it's a scam. Let me just go ahead and make this a little broader. The IRS is not going to text you. The IRS doesn't have text capabilities. They're not even going to call you. They're going to send you an old-fashioned letter in the mail, certified letter maybe, but that's how they contact. They don't even have the fax machine yet at the IRS. They're running off of DOS. They haven't even got. They're not even to the speak and spell. They're probably down in the other limestone mine or whatever the retirement system's in. What is that? Kansas, not the state, but the band, is coming to the Pavilion at Toyota Music Factory July 20th. With special guest 38 Special and Dave Mason. For tickets and information, go to livenation.com. You text the word Kansas to 800-288-9227 for your chance to win a pair of tickets. Text Kansas to 800-288-9227. Coming up next, we'll talk to EJ Antoni from the Heritage Foundation. What's going on with the economy and tariffs and exports and all that other good stuff? We'll find out next on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to The James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I know, good to see you too. Boy, it's been a wild show. Right after The James Show started, images started popping up on my TV and on my laptop. I'm not my laptop, my desktop and my phone all at the same time about this crash in Toronto. Updates. If you're just joining us, a Delta plane flipped upside down. It was going from Minneapolis to Toronto. And it flipped upside down and landed upside down. Now, the fuselage is all in one piece. The wing, one of the wings I know is ripped off. I can't see the other side of it. And the back tail fin is ripped off. Oh, I have some updates. We have 8 reported injured. No one's reported dead. And all 80 people on board are reported to have been successfully evacuated. This is a miracle. You should see the pictures. You'll see it on. Check your phone. Do you have Twitter? It might even be on Facebook by now. But check your phone. Look at these pictures. There's the Delta plane, and it's so wild. Like my brain still is not fathoming this because there's a plane and it says Delta, but Delta's upside down, and you're like, well, is the whole picture upside down? Well, no, because the sky is up and the ground is down, and so you've never seen a plane like that. I've no explanation on how it ended up in this situation. I don't know if Home Skillet was trying to do a barrel roll or there's a gust of wind. I don't know. I don't know how this happens. You know, I had a caller earlier and say, is this DEI? This is beyond DEI. Upside down? So more up. I just want to give you the good news before we go into the next weather update. Hey there. Welcome to The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, it's a whirlwind today. I had a show planned for you, and then the weather stepped in, and then a plane crash stepped in, and we got just, I'm juggling some 3 or 4 balls in here. So, number one, it's going to get super duper cold starting after the rain tomorrow. There's going to be a little bit of rain, and then after that, it's going to get into the teens. Not tonight, but overnight tomorrow is when it's going to get super cold. And then it will slowly warm up, and we should be back to normal. Not warm, but normal for this time of year by the weekend. On the plane crash, a Delta Airlines flight going from Minneapolis to Toronto. Apparently, when it got to Toronto, it decided it was going to flip and try and land upside down. I have no explanation on how it ended up in such a predicament. I mean, I didn't even know that those big passenger planes were capable of doing a barrel roll. I didn't even know they could. Well, it's like, can you do that with every plane? Can you do a barrel roll with it? Brandon, can you do a barrel roll with just any plane? I mean, granted, not like the Spruce Goose or something, but just a regular 737. That's wild. Because did it try and land and then it bounced and flipped on a bounce? Or did it come in upside down? I don't know. But here's the miracle. The wings are ripped off, but the fuselage, the body's all intact. And it looks like everyone lived. All 80 people are off the plane and accounted for. We have 8 people with reported injuries, only one of them critical. And there's no fire. There doesn't seem to be, I mean, It could have been a lot worse. I don't want to say this isn't a tragedy, but no one died. So this is sort of like the Miracle on the Hudson situation. And Garrett and I were joking on the break. They're going to have to make a movie out of this. Whatever. I don't even know how it got in this position, but whatever the story is, I want to hear it. And we can stretch that thing out to about 80 minutes and make a whole movie out of it. If we can do that for Sully, we can do it for this. But this is also on the trail of so many weird aviation accidents happening over the last 2-3 weeks, when usually we don't hear about it for years at a time. When you have too many oddities happening, at some point it's more than a coincidence. Is there a thread between all these? I don't know. Let's figure out what's wrong with this one first before we start making further conclusions. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. If you want to be a part of the show, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I got some feedback from some, airline specialists over here. I'm going to read you this guy's comment, partially because I like his name. His name is on X/Twitter. His name is Testiculus Maximus. So he probably knows what he's talking about, right? I trust that guy. He says, from his expertise, it looks like when the plane was coming in, since when it got real low to the ground, it wobbled, and it looks like one of the wings hits the ground. That would rip the wing off and flip the plane over, and then it would just slide harmlessly to a stop. Which in fact, that is shared. That's the opinion, Mr. Maximus, that's shared by Bruce, the program director over here. He thinks it tapped the ground and then got flipped over there. And then I asked Testiculus, or Mr. Maximus, if a 737 can do a barrel roll. He said, well, with enough altitude, yeah, 737 could probably do a barrel roll, but I wouldn't advise it. Okay. That got a little silly pretty quick.